Welcome to another edition of the Columbia Cougars Coaches Show on Mediacom Channel 22. Our guest this week is head coach Mike Davis of the Lady Cougars. Welcome.
Hey, Cosmo.
My name is Cosmo, again with Zimmer Radio Group in Columbia and Cougar Broadcaster Promotions, having some fun at the Southwell Complex. You guys are having a lot of fun right now in conference play at 12-0 right now, moving through the second half of the conference, touching the other teams a second time now moving through.
Yes.
You got a makeup game with Williams Baptist. I guess that was the only other one not scheduled that's moved to Monday for the trip to Arkansas after the snow. But let's take in the last couple. We'll start with the most recent game with the win over Hannibal LaGrange. Again, another game for you guys with 5 ladies in double figures with Neezy and Ashley Fisher with 18 points apiece.
Memorable trip last night. You know, we travel wonderfully. White night, wonderful buses. We pull off the interstate at Kingdom City, getting along great, and the bus dies and won't start.
Oh.
So we're stranded on the road. Another bus comes, so throws our schedule off a little bit. And let's see, it was about a 45-minute difference when we normally get there. And it worked out perfect because when the game started, about the first 15 minutes, we didn't show up for that either. You know, we're down 10-0 to start the ball game, so tough way to start it. But really came in, had some young ladies off the bench, got the boat turned around for us, and then got our starters back in and really played a great 30 minutes. But the first 10 minutes, a little rocky on the road.
Well, and again, you get into that routine, and sometimes when you get out of that rhythm that's beyond your control, there's really not a whole lot you can do other than just try and refocus.
That's part of the road. It's part of traveling, and this time of year, you know, we're having rescheduled games, and every team has to go through it, and we're so fortunate we have very little trouble when we travel that way. But, you know, if you travel enough, sooner or later you're going to have something go wrong. So it was one of those days that we had to make a few adjustments and get going, but the girls did a good job.
Go back to the big home game against McKendree. What a night that was for both games. Unfortunately for the men, it didn't work out well for them on the win-loss column, but for you guys, a hard-fought battle throughout the night and really focused down the stretch, and free throws ended up being the big difference, really.
You know, a game probably in the last 6 to 8 ball games, it's probably the game that we have not done as good of a job on offense and just not shot the ball as well. We didn't shoot the ball well that night at all. And, you know, we've been such a really good three-point shooting team as of late. And just, I think we rushed a few things, and I think McKendree did a good job. So, you know, came down to the last couple of minutes and really finished the ball game the right way. I thought Kayla Rice made a huge basket on a drive with her left hand. You know, Ashley Fisher, who's here today, made a couple of big free throws and finished it off winning by, I don't know, 7 or 8, whatever it was. But, you know, the last 2 minutes were really the difference in the ball game, how we played.
And another, if I recall correctly, a little more of an extended locker room visit. And that one, it's another one, as it seems like you guys adjust very well at halftime and come back in the second half. And maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of it.
I think you are. I really do. I think you are. I think this is a group, though, as a team, that and we've talked about it before, but they do a really good job of taking our scouting reports from paper to the court. And, you know, it's not hard to say, here's what you need to do on paper. But I think this group has really taken that information, put it into play, and I think that's one reason they're having so much success. They're able to use what we talk about and put it right into the court and play with those things in mind.
A team that's number 17 in the country, holding at that spot in the national poll, the 12-game winning streak, 12-0 in the conference play. How do you, as a coaching staff, keep these ladies focused on just that next game and not necessarily look ahead to a couple of more games down the end? Again, we're down to the final 4 or 5 games here before the tournament.
You know, I think that's human nature to do. But I think if you do that as a team, you're really not paying attention. Let's see, how many hours was Kansas number 1 in the country before they lost the other day?
Yeah, not many.
You know, on our men's side, our men are upset by McKendree. It puts Park all alone in the driver's seat, number 1 in the men's race in the AMC. And they go to Williams Baptist and play a team, I want to say they were 1-6 in the conference, and lose down there. So you don't have to look very far in basketball to see. You'd better pay attention that day. It's a very humbling sport if you're not ready.
Focus away, and you guys do a great job of getting the ladies focused and ready to go. As you mentioned, Ashley Fisher, one of your freshman standout players for you this season. We'll visit with her in a couple of segments. We'll preview a couple of the other games coming up, and I also want to relay a story about another player who unfortunately is not able to play for you any longer, Caitlin Bogle. Quite an inspiration the other night at the Southwell Complex on Thursday. We'll talk about that coming up with head coach Mike Davis of the Lady Cougars. It's the Cougars Coaches Show on Mediacom Channel 22.